Okay, Bismillah, we're live. And just as that, the Sheikh's gone.
Was the Sheikh not here?
No, it's just hopped up, but is back in now. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam. Sorry.
Yes, carry on then, we're live.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu al-atammani al-akmalani ala Muhammadin Rasulillah, Sayyid al-awwaleen wal-akhirin, wa imam al-anbiya wal-mursaleen wal-shafi' al-mushaffa' yawm al-din wa ala alihi al-tayyibin wa azwajihi al-tahirat ummahat al-mu'minin wa sahabatihi al-ghurr al-mayamin wa man istanna bi sunnatihi wa ihtada bi hadihi ila yawm al-din. Amma ba'd, hayyakum Allah أيها الإخوة والأخوات إلى هذا اللقاء المتجدد بعد انقطاع الذي نتحدث فيه عن موضوع سبق لنا الكلام في طرف منه ولا زال في الجعبة الكثير لنتحدث فيه، لأنه لا شيء أعز ولا أغلى ولا أنفس ولا أهم ولا أعظم على الإنسان من الأسرة. نعم.
All praises are due to Allah, and may the most complete and full salutations be showered upon Muhammad, the messenger of Allah, the leader of the first and the last, the Imam of the prophets and messengers, the intercessor whose intercession will be accepted on the day of recompense, and upon his good family and distinguished companions, upon his pure wives, and those who take his example as an example to be followed and seek his guidance as a guidance to be followed until the day of recompense. To proceed, I welcome you all to tonight's lecture, which is a continuation after we had paused, or we had a slight disconnect for a couple of weeks. We are now back, and all praises are due to Allah, with a topic that is of great importance, and it's the topic of how to protect one's marriage. And we have had some other conversations and we've had some other lectures around this topic, but there is still much to say as relates to this topic, and that's because there is nothing that is more important, nor is there anything that is more precious than the family. And for this reason, we are continuing our discussion about how to strengthen and protect the bond of marriage.
يقول الله عز وجل في كتابه العزيز كما في الآية السادسة من سورة التحريم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. يقول علي رضي الله تعالى عنه في هذه الآية: أي علموا أنفسكم وأهليكم الخير وأدبوهم. والمراد بالأهل هنا الزوجة والولد ومن تحت يدك كالخادم والسائق والعامل ونحوهم. فواجب على المسلم أن يقوم خلقهم ويعلمهم كل فضيلة ويخوفهم ويحذرهم من كل نقيصة ورذيلة. نعم.
And Allah the Most High, He mentions in the chapter of the Quran, the chapter entitled The Prohibition, and it's verse number 6, where He says that which means, O you who have believed, protect yourselves and your families from a fire, whose fuel is people and stones, over which, meaning over the fire, which are appointed angels. They are harsh and they are severe. They do not disobey Allah in what He commands them to do, but they do what they are commanded. So here, Allah the Most High, He instructs the believers, and this verse was explained by the companion of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Ali, who said, i.e., you should teach your families good, and you should raise them upon good conduct and good manners. And here, the word ahl, or it literally means people, but it refers to the wife and all of those people who are under an individual's authority. So the children, if they have servants, or if they have a driver, or anyone that they're responsible for, they have this responsibility to teach them the good and to raise them with good conduct and encourage this good conduct. And this is something that is obligatory upon this individual, to teach them that which is good, and to also teach them how to avoid the things that are not good and the things that are lowly, and the types of conduct that are not befitting.
ومما ينبغي أن يعتني به المربي سواء كان الأب أو الأم، لأن كل منهما عليه قدر من المسؤولية، كما في الحديث: كلكم راع ومسؤول عن رعيته، فالأب راع في أهل بيته ومسؤول عن رعيته، والزوجة راعية في بيت زوجها ومسؤولة عن رعيتها، والابن راع في مال والده ومسؤول عن رعيته، إلى آخر الحديث. فكل واحد عليه مسؤولية تقع بقدرها. فالأب والأم عليهما مسؤولية تجاه الأبناء. من هذه المسؤولية هو تنشئتهم على الأخلاق الفاضلة من صدق وحسن ملفظ واحترام للكبير وللجار ونحو ذلك، كما جاء عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث أبي هريرة المخرج عند أحمد في المسند بسند صححه الألباني في صحيح الجامع، أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إنما بعثت لأتمم صالح الأخلاق. وبملاحظة هذه الجملة لأتمم، يتبين لنا أن الناس في مجملهم عندهم أخلاق، لذلك قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لأتمم، أي ما نقص من الأخلاق عند الناس، فالناس يتفاوتون في حسن الخلق، ولهذا كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يحث على أن يكون الإنسان على أعلى درجة حسن الخلق. لهذا قال صلى الله عليه وسلم في الحديث أن الرجل ينال بحسن خلقه درجة قائم الليل صائم النهار. نعم.
So it's fitting for the person who is responsible in the family, and that is the mother and the father. It's befitting for them to take up their responsibility. And that's as mentioned in the narration of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, where he said, every one of you is a shepherd and responsible for their flock. A man is the guardian of his family, and he is responsible for them. A woman is the guardian of her husband's home and his children, and she is responsible for them. The servant of a man is a guardian of the property of his manager or master, and he is responsible for it. And this is as the hadith goes on. So this is in respect to raising children. So it's a responsibility for the father and the mother to raise the children to have good standards of character, to have good morals. So their conduct is respectful to their elders and respectful to their neighbors, and all of those who have excellence or virtue over the children. And it's been reported in the narration of Abu Huraira and collected by Imam Ahmad and declared as authentic by Sheikh Al-Albani in his book Sahih Al-Jami', that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, indeed I was, and it's almost as though he was only, innama, indeed I was sent solely to complete the best virtues or the best standards of character. So when we look at this narration, I was sent to complete the best levels of character. The understanding of the narration is that the people, they do have a certain level or certain degree of good character, but the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he was sent in order to complete this character that the people were upon, because the people, they are upon differing levels of good character, and good character is something that has a very very great impact upon the individual, and for this reason the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he encouraged the people to have the best standards of character that they could possibly have. And this was mentioned in the hadith, in the narration, where the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that which means, and indeed the man, the woman, the person, they can attain through having good character the reward of those who spend the night in prayer and those who spend the day in fasting, i.e. their rank and their status will be elevated due to their good standards of character.
ومما علمنا الإسلام كأولياء أمور نقوم على تربية والمحافظة على الناشئة ما جاء في سورة لقمان. قال الله عز وجل عن لقمان أنه كان يعظ ابنه ويوصيه، فقال يا بني أقم الصلاة. أولا أمره بالإخلاص، قال نعم يا بني، وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. هذه أول الوصايا وأعظم الوصايا وأنجح الوصايا، إذا التزمها الموصى فإنه لما سواها سيكون ألزم وأقوم، أما إذا ضيعها فهو لغيرها أضيع. نعم.
شيخنا، هل عندكم رقم الآية؟ حفظكم
نعم
الله.
الآية 13.
حفظكم الله. And we can see an example of this, and from that which Islam has taught us is that as people who have responsibilities over others, it has taught us to raise these individuals that we have authority over, and to be very, very diligent over raising them. And this is where Allah the Most High, this is shown in the verse of Surah Luqman, and that's a name, and it's verse number 13, where Allah the Most High says that which means, and mention, O Muhammad, when Luqman said to his son while he was instructing him, O my son, do not associate anything with Allah. Indeed, associating others with Allah is a great injustice. So this is the first piece of advice, and this is the first thing that we instruct and that we try and raise those that we have authority over upon, and that's for them to have sincerity in their faith, not to associate anything with Allah the Most High. And if the individual adheres to this advice and they perform their actions solely for the sake of Allah, then the other actions of good character will come easy, and they will flow naturally from this. However, if they find this difficult or they err in it, then the follow-up actions and that which should come as a result of it will not come as easily.
ونجد أن الإسلام أيضا وجهنا لنستقيم على هذا التوجيه ونوجه به من تحت أيدينا من زوجة وأبناء وخدم وغيرهم، ألا وهو أننا نحسن إلى عباد الله بحكم العلاقة التي بيننا، لا على أساس حكم العلاقة التي بينهم وبين الله، فإن ما بينه وبين الله يقضي ويفصل فيه الله، أما الذي بيننا وبينهم فيجب أن نؤديه كما أمر الله. قال الله عز وجل في سياق آيات سورة لقمان في الآية 15 أو قبلها في 14: ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك، أن اشكر لي ولوالديك. انظر كيف أن الله عز وجل أتى بالواو العاطفة في الأمر بشكر هذا الإنسان لله الذي خلقه ورزقه ويتصرف فيه، ولوالديه اللذين هما فقط سبب لوجوده، فقال أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير، إشارة إلى أن ما كان عليه الوالدان من إيمان أو كفر، أو ما كنت عليه أنت أيها الابن من إيمان أو كفر، فهذا مرده إلى الله، هو الذي يفصل بينهم يوم القيامة. ثم أرشد إلى أمر آخر، وهو أن مفارقة الدين ليست بالضرورة داع لإساءة التعامل مع الناس، لهذا قال: وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم، جاهداك بما لهما من سلطة وسطوة أبوية عليك، فإذا أظهر لك جفاء وهجر وإعراض إن لم تطعهما في أمر الكفر والشرك ماذا تصنع؟ لا تقطعهما. قال الله عز وجل: فلا تطعهما، يعني في أمر الشرك والكفر والفسق والعصيان لا تطيع الوالد والوالدة، لكن لا تقطعهما ولا تهجرهما ولا تحرمهما حقهما. قال: وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا، يعني كن معهما في الدنيا على أفضل ما يتعارف عليه الناس من التعامل والخلق، لا بد، وإن كانا كافرين، ليس فقط كافرين، بل لو كانا داعيين إلى الكفر، بل لو كانا يكرهانك على أن تكون كافرا، اصبر ولا تكفر، ولكن إياك أن تجحدهما حقهما في الصحبة الحسنة. ولهذا قال: واتبع سبيل من أناب إليه، لأن الذي يجاهد نفسه هذا الجهاد منيب إلى الله، رجاع إلى الله، مخبت محب لما عند الله. قال: ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. فهذا لله، هو الذي يحكم بين الناس في عقائدهم وما بينهم وبينه، لكن الناس فيما بينهم يجب أن يتعاملوا على أساس التعامل اللائق بالبشر، لا على أساس العنف والقتل والإرهاب والتعبيس بالوجه ويعني نكران الآخر وإلى ذلك، بل يجب أن يتعاملوا على مستوى راق، وإن قبل أي منهم، إن قبلوا الدخول في الإسلام فالحمد لله، وإن لم يقبلوا فلا نسلبهم حقهم، بل نعاملهم كما أمر الله.
Mhm. And then Al-Islam, it also tells us and it informs us how to deal with those around us and how to have respect and have good manners to even those people who are closest to us, with whom there might be difficulties. So in this, Allah the Most High, He mentions the verse that follows, the verse number 14. And if they, meaning, no, and we have enjoined upon man care for his parents. His mother carried him, increasing her weakness upon weakness, and his weaning over 2 years, over the period of 2 years. Be grateful to me and to your parents. To me is the final destination. So here, Al-Islam, it shows us that we deal with the people in terms of how they, or in terms of the rank or the status that they have with us. So we, and this example is if the parents are not Muslim. And here, Allah the Most High, He notes, He says, be grateful to me and be grateful to your parents, because your parents are those who raised you, who fed you and clothed you when you were in a state of weakness. And as for the fact, even if they are not Muslim, this is something that is between them and between their Lord. And it's not something that is between you and between them. So you should continue to show a good standard of character to them, and you should continue to be good and dutiful to them. And Allah the Most High mentions in the last portion of this verse, and to me is the final destination, meaning that it is Allah the Most High who will judge them for that which they did. So again, the emphasis here is the fact that we deal with the people in accordance to their status and in accordance to their rank. So if there are people who are deserving of our respect and deserving of our good character, then this is how we deal with them. Then Allah the Most High, He goes on to mention in the following verse, verse number 15, but if they endeavor, i.e. if your parents endeavor to make you associate with me that of which you have no knowledge, do not obey them, but accompany them in this world with appropriate kindness, and follow the way of those who turn back to me in repentance. Then to me will be your return, and I will inform you about what you used to do. So here, if they are difficult, if your parents try to coerce you to disbelieve in the faith that you have taken, if they try to make you perform something or do something that takes you outside of the fold of Al-Islam, and they're difficult, then Allah instructs us not to cut them off. We don't behave with them in a haughty way or in an arrogant way. But if they order you to do evil, don't follow them. And then Allah the Most High says, but accompany them in this world with appropriate kindness. So you should still behave with them with good character. And then Allah the Most High says, I will inform you about what you used to do. This is, again, a sign or an indication that Allah is the one who will judge. He will judge them and He will judge you as relates to the conduct that you and they have. So the individual, they should act and they should behave, and their conduct with others, it should not be with evil or with malicious intent or with arrogance. Rather, it should be on a good level that demonstrates good character. And this is even the case, even if the parents are callers to disbelief. Even if they are trying to make you disbelieve and they're calling others to disbelief, then you should still behave with them with good character. And if they accept and embrace Al-Islam, then all praises are due to Allah. And if they do not, then their affair is with Allah the Most High.
هذان أصلان من أصول التربية، بل هما أعظم أصلين من أصول التربية. الأول مخافة الله فيما بينك وبينهم. الثاني أداء حقوق الوالدين مهما كرهت منهما من تصرف وتعامل معك، فلا بد من الإتيان بهذين الأصلين حتى تستطيع الإتيان بما بعدهما وما دونهما. فإن لم تقم بهذين الأصلين العظيمين فأنت لما دونهما أضيع، وستكون أثقل وأصعب عليك، لأن بابها واحد، والذي يريد إفشالك في هذه جميعها هو الشيطان. ولهذا يبدأ معك من القاعدة العظمى وهي توحيد الله عز وجل، ثم نكران الوالدين وحقهما وهجرهما، فبالتالي تصبح وحيدا طريدا، لا إله لا رب يحميك ولا والد يحنو عليك. نعم.
So these are two of the great principles from the principles of raising others and the principles of responsible care. The first, that the individual should fear Allah and that their inclination should be towards Allah the Most High. And second, that they should fulfill the rights that their parents have, no matter how much or how difficult the things that their parents bring to them and the obstacles that the parents present are. And the devil will endeavor to make you fail in these two things. Either he will want you to associate partners with Allah the Most High, or he will want you to be bad and undutiful to your parents. And as we have said before, if you do not come and if you do not perform these two things, these two pillars, then everything else, the good character that stems from these two, they will be more difficult for you to perform, and they'll be more difficult for you to do. And the goal of Satan, the goal of the devil, is to leave you without this and to leave you without that. So he wants to leave you so that you are alone and you are isolated, that you have no Lord that you call upon, and you have no parents, no Lord to call upon and no Lord to protect you, and that you have no parents to support you.
ثم أصل ثالث من أصول التربية وهو الإيقان والاعتقاد الجازم أن ما كان لك لن يذهب إلى غيرك، وما كان لغيرك لن يصل إليك. لذلك قال الله عز وجل في سياق آيات لقمان، سورة لقمان في الآية 16: يا بني إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو بالسماوات أو في الأرض يأتي بها الله إن الله لطيف خبير. ومعنى هذا أن كل شيء في هذا الكون إنما يسير بقدر دقيق معلوم. وقد جاء في حديث ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما مخرج عند مسلم في الصحيح أنه كان يوما مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال له النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: يا غلام إني أعلمك كلمات، احفظ الله تجده تجاهك، احفظ الله يحفظك، احفظ الله تجده تجاهك، إذا سألت فاسأل الله وإذا استعنت فاستعن بالله، واعلم أن الأمة لو اجتمعوا على أن ينفعوك بشيء لم ينفعوك إلا بشيء قد كتبه الله لك، ولو اجتمعوا على أن يضروك لم يضروك إلا بشيء قد كتبه الله عليك، ورفعت الأقلام وجفت الصحف. وهذا معناه أنك لا تتعامل مع الناس على أساس ما في أيدي الناس، وإنما تتعامل مع الناس على أساس ما عند الله. جل في علاه وأنه ما قضاه وقدره لك فسيأتيك لا بد من ذلك. نعم.
And there we have, following on from this, the third principle from the principles of raising others, and that is what Allah the Most High says, and the example that He gives in the 16th verse of Surah Al-Luqman. And the principle is that the individual has certainty and strong belief that that which you have attained has been preordained for you, and that which you have is that which Allah has given for you, and that which Allah hasn't given you and He's given to someone else, then that has been ordained for them, and contentment upon this. And Allah the Most High says that, which means in the 16th verse, as I've mentioned, and Luqman said, "O my son, indeed if a wrong should be the weight of a mustard seed and should be within a rock or anywhere in the heavens or the earth, Allah will bring it forward. Indeed, Allah is subtle and aware." So this is something that we should have certainty of, that no matter how small something is, Allah the Most High will bring it into focus and He will bring it for you. And there is a narration of Abdullah ibn Abbas, reported by Imam Muslim, where he said that he was behind the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, one day, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to him, "O young man, indeed I will teach you some words. Be mindful of Allah and Allah will protect you. Ihfadillah yahfadk, ihfadillah tajidhu tujahak." Be mindful of Allah and you will find Allah in front of you, i.e. Allah will aid you and help you. And when you ask, then ask of Allah. And when you seek aid, seek aid and help in Allah. And know that indeed, if the ummah, if the whole nation, if all the people were to gather and to want to benefit you with something, they will never be able to benefit you with anything except through that which Allah has decreed for you. And if the whole nation and if all the people were to gather on the basis of harming you in such a way or in some way, they will never be able to harm you unless it is something that Allah has decreed for you. Indeed, rufi'at al-iqlam, the pens have been raised and the scriptures have dried, i.e. meaning the preordination of everything is complete. So don't act with the people, and this is our Sheikh's words now, don't act with the people in conformity to that which they have and that which they present before you. Rather, you act with them as you are supposed to act, and Allah the Most High will grant you that which He will grant you.
نعم. إذن هذه هي الأصول الثلاثة في التربية. ثم تأتي معززات هذه الأصول، معززاتها، معززات التوحيد، امتثال الأوامر. لذلك قال الله عز وجل يا بني في سياق آيات لقمان، يا بني أقم الصلاة. هذا حق الله عز وجل، أقم الصلاة وأمر بالمعروف وانهى عن المنكر واصبر على ما أصابك إن ذلك من عزم الأمور. فإذا قام الإنسان الصلاة معناه أنه يقيمها إخلاصا لله ومتابعة لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، فلا هو يرائي بصلاته وسائر عمله، ولا هو يأتي بالصلاة وسائر العمل على غير السنة، بل وفقا للسنة التي تركنا عليها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. وبذلك يتقوى الإيمان وتتقوى العلاقة بين العبد وبين ربه. وأيضا وأمر بالمعروف، هذا في ما يبقي الإيمان في الأرض ويشيعه. والأمر بالمعروف يجب أن يكون بالمعروف، يعني الطريقة التي تأمر بها بالمعروف يجب أن تكون حسنة. بالمعروف أي حسنة لطيفة مقبولة عند الناس محببة إلى نفوسهم. أما الأمر بالمعروف إذا صار بغلظة وشدة فإن الناس لا تقبله. لذلك قال الله عز وجل لنبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو أرأف الخلق بالخلق، قال فإن كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. فلذلك ينبغي على الإنسان أن يستوعب هذه المعاني جيدا ويعمل بها. ثم قال وانهى عن المنكر، أمر بالمعروف، لا تترك الأمر بالمعروف، وانهى عن المنكر، إذا رأيت منكر انهى عنه، لكن بالتي هي أحسن. بالتي هي أحسن. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جاءه رجل شاب قال يا رسول الله ذلي في الزنا. لم يشتط النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم غضبا، لم يوقع به ضربا، لم يأمر الصحابة أن يحملوه بعيدا، وإنما قال له أدنو. ثم أخذ يحاوره حوارا لطيفا جميلا، أترضه لأمك؟ قال لا. قال وكل الناس لا يرضى، يعني من ستزني بها أم أحد من الناس فلن يرضى. أترضاه لأختك؟ قال لا. قال وكل الناس لا يرضى. أترضاه لخالتك؟ قال لا. قال وكل الناس لا يرضى. أترضاه لعمتك؟ قال لا. قال وكل الناس لا يرضى. إذا ستزني بمن؟ إما أن تكون أما لفلان، أو خالة لفلان، أو عمة لفلان، أو أختا لفلان، أو بنتا لفلان، فأنت لا ترضاه لهؤلاء من قراباتك وهم كذلك لا يرضونه، فابتعد عنهم. فقال الشاب قال الشاب يا رسول الله ادعو الله لي، فدعا الله له فنزع الله من قلبه حب الزنا. هذا التعامل هو الذي يبعد الناس عن المنكر الذي يدعوهم إليه الشيطان. وأيضا التعامل الحسن في الأمر المعروف هو الذي يحبب الناس في المعروف الذي يصرفهم عنه الشيطان. فالحرب بينك وبين الشيطان، ليس بينك وبين إخوانك من بني الإنسان، وإنما الحرب الحقيقية هي بين بني الإنسان وبين الشيطان. فينبغي أن نستعمل عقولنا في التعامل مع معطيات هذه الحرب، وهي أن الشيطان يدعو إلى المنكر والفحشاء، وأن الله وأولياء الله الأنبياء والمؤمنون يدعون إلى المعروف بالوسائل الصحيحة. نعم.
And there are those things. Now we have taken the three fundamental pillars, or the three main actions of raising and rectifying those who are under our authority. Now come those matters that strengthen these three main pillars. And there are things that strengthen and establish the monotheism that the slave has to Allah the Most High. And in the following verse, these things are mentioned, where Allah the Most High says that which means, O my son, establish the prayer, enjoin what is right, forbid what is wrong, and be patient over what befalls you. Indeed, all that is of the matters requiring resolve. So here, there are a number of things that Luqman, he ordered his son to have. The first of those was to establish the prayer. The second was to encourage or enjoin the good. The third, to forbid the evil. And then the fourth, to have patience over everything that befits the individual. So when the individual, looking at these four things, when the individual establishes the prayer, they do so, or they should do so, sincerely for the sake of Allah the Most High, and emulating the example of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. They should be far away when they carry out the prayer in associating partners with Allah and doing the prayer or performing the prayer in order to be seen or in order to be praised. And likewise, when they perform the prayer, they should diligently do so in order or in such a manner that they are in conformity to the example of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and they are far away from practices that run counter to his practices, peace and blessings be upon him. And through this action, through the establishment and the offering of the prayer in this way, the individual's faith will increase and it will become stronger. And then Luqman, he said to his son, and order that or enjoin that which is good. The good things, you should enjoin them. And this duty and this enjoining of the good, this is what keeps things going and keeps things well on the earth. It rectifies the affairs between the people and it keeps them in order on the face of the earth. And this is something, enjoin that which is good. So the thing that is good and the thing that the Islamic legislation has deemed to be something that is good. However, when the individual orders to do so, it should not be with stringency and it should not be in a difficult manner. Rather, it should be in a way, in a manner in which it is likely to be accepted. And Allah the Most High said, and he was giving, or he was talking, referring to the best and the most merciful of the creation, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah the Most High said, and indeed, if you were thick and if you were difficult, if you were stringent with them, and if your heart was harsh towards them, they would have scattered from around you. They would have dispersed, they would have fled, and they would not have accepted the message. So this is something that we do in a way in which it will be accepted and in a way in which will not alienate or push the people away. And then to prohibit the evil. There is an example of when a young man came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. And he was a young man who had sexual desires and a sexual urge. He wanted to commit fornication. So he came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he said, O Messenger of Allah, permit me and allow me, make it acceptable for me to create or to make or to fornicate with someone. So make it permissible for me to perform this outside marriage. Now, we need to note the reaction of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in response to this request that this young man had. And this was a request to do something that is impermissible. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he didn't get angry with him. He didn't beat him. He didn't order his companions to take him and expel him from the sitting or expel him from, indeed, the area. Rather, he said to this young man, Udnu, come closer. So he spoke to him on the level. He spoke to him or with an intimate distance or with an intimate type of discourse. And he said, would you be pleased if someone were to perform this act with your mother? And then the young man said no. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, and just like that, or just the same, the people are not pleased if someone were to do this with their mothers. Would you be pleased if someone were to do this with your sister? He said, O Messenger of Allah, no. And then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said the same. So people, just as you wouldn't like it, the people don't like it that others would do this with their sister. And then he asked, and how about your auntie? Would you be pleased if someone were to do that with your auntie? And he said no. And then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, and just like you don't like it, the people don't like it either. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he explained this because this woman or this potential person that the young man would fornicate with, she's either going to be someone's mother or someone's sister or someone's aunt, or someone's daughter, etc., etc. She's going to have a relationship with someone. So then the young man, seeing that this wasn't something that was going to be made permissible, he said, "O Messenger of Allah, make supplication, make dua to Allah for me." So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he placed his hand upon the young man's chest and he made dua, he made supplication for him. And then the young man, he said after this, he did not feel the desire within his heart to commit this act. So we see an example of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, dealing with the people and preventing them from the evil in a good way. And this is how we should enact, and this is how we should behave with the people. And it's important that we note that when we are discouraging the people from doing good, what we're doing is we're discouraging them from Satan. We're discouraging them from the influences and the whispers that shaitan, that Satan has upon them. And that in actuality, the war and the difficulty isn't between the two individuals, the person who's trying to prevent the evil and the person committing it. Rather, the war and the difficulty is between the person who's trying to prevent the evil and Satan. So the person should be mindful of this so as not to argue or alienate or estrange this individual that they are calling to. And the awliya, those who are close to Allah and those who are his close slaves, they call to Allah with the best kind of character and in the best manner that is possible.
الحديث عن هذه المواضيع كثير وكثير جدا، ولكن الوقت لا يسعفنا. لكن يبقى أن نقول من أهم عناصر نجاح الزواج العلاقة بين الزوج والزوجة. يجب أن تكون علاقة قائمة على الاحترام والمودة والحب والكرم والعفو عن بعضهم البعض والتغافل عن ما قد يرى الإنسان من تقصير من الطرف الآخر أو من عدم اهتمام أو نحو ذلك. فإن الأيام ليست دائما سواء، والناس قد يعتريهم ما يعتريهم من الهموم والأعراض التي تجعلهم ربما في مزاج غير مستقيم. فلا تطلب دائما الكمال، وارضى بما تجد من صاحبك، أعني الزوجة، وكذلك الزوجة مما تجد من صاحبها زوجها، فيتعاونون على الإبحار بهذه السفينة إلى بر الأمان. أسأل الله بمنه وكرمه أن يوفق جميع الأسر للمحافظة على البنية الأسرية، وأن يبعدهم عن التفكك الأسري وعن كل شر يريدهم به عدوهم الألد إبليس عليه لعائن الله. والله تعالى أعلم، وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.
بارك الله فيكم وأثابكم الله شيخنا، حفظكم الله.
آمين.
So this discussion and this topic, it's a lengthy topic and it's a lengthy discussion. And the time that we have allocated isn't sufficient for us to cover it comprehensively or to cover it entirely. Entirely is probably better. However, from the most important points that the two partners within the marriage should pay attention to are as follows: that they should have a connection between them, and it's a connection that should be based upon mutual respect. It's a connection that should be based upon being generous to one another, being grateful of one another. It's a connection that is built around love for one another, and also pardoning one another for the slips and the errors that and the errors that they may fall into, and also to overlook any shortcomings and mistakes, or if one or the other doesn't pay particular attention or doesn't do something quite right with the other, because it's important to note that not every day is the same. Not every day can be perfect. You can't always, or an individual can't always be on top form. There are some days where the individual, they're depressed, or they're feeling weak, or there are other outside influences that affect the person's state. So you cannot expect the individual to always perform to completeness or to always fulfill everything completely. Rather, you should be pleased with what your husband or what your wife can do as much as they are able to do it. So I ask Allah the Most High to give success to the families, to help them steady their boats on these waters that can be difficult. And I ask him, Allah the Most High, to enable them to build foundations for strong relationships and strong marriages. I ask Allah to protect them from the fragmenting and the splintering of the marriage and the Islamic households, and also to protect them against the evils and the plans and plots of Satan, who try and affect the marriage and the institution of the family institution. And Allah the Most High knows best, and may he shower peace and salutations and blessings upon our Prophet Muhammad and upon his family and companions to the day of resurrection.
Jazakallah, Sheikh. Jazakallah, and Tom. There's a few questions that we're waiting on, but one of them, what we can ask now for the time being, is that how should one behave when living with the parents of the husband, and you want the husband to have his own house or his own place, but you're living with the parents? Okay.
Yeah. So the question: how should the wife behave with the parents when she's living in the husband's parents' house? شيخنا بارك الله فيكم. هذا السؤال جيد. كيف تتعامل المرأة الزوجة مع أبوي الزوج عندما هي تعيش معهم في بيت واحد؟ وهذا حقيقة هذا يحدث كثيرا، لا سيما الآن عندما البيوت والتكاليف البيوت غالية جدا، فتكاثرت هذه الأحوال لدينا، يعني من حيث أن الزوج والزوجة تعيش مع أبوي الزوج.
أولا ينبغي على كل من الزوجين أن يعلم أن والدي الآخر أصبحا في مقام الوالدين له، فوالدة الزوجة هي محرم أبدي لزوج ابنتها، فهو مثل ابنها، ولو طلق ابنتها لا تحل له، ويجوز لها أن تسافر معه ويخلو بها، لأنها أصبحت في مقام أمه تماما. وكذلك الزوجة، فإن والدي الزوج أصبحا في مقام والديها، ولذلك حتى لو طلقها زوجها يبقى أبوه محرما لها، يجوز أن يخلو بها وتسافر معه، لأن التحريم أصبح أبديا. وعلى هذا ينبغي لكل منهما أن يحترم ويوقر والدي الآخر، ويسعى جاهدا في جعل المحبة تسود بين والديه ووالدي الطرف الثاني، إن كان الزوج لا يذكر والدي زوجته إلا بالخير عند والديه، والعكس بالعكس كذلك. هذا من جانب. من جانب آخر قد يكون الوالدان كبيران، تحتاج هذه المرأة أن تساعد، أولا أن تراعي حقهما، فلا تتشدد في أن تأخذ بيتا مستقلا إن كان الزوج لا يستطيع أن يوفر بيتا مستقلا، وإن كان هذا حق لها، لكن قد يتنازل الإنسان عن بعض حقه لتحصيل مصلحة أعظم. وإذا كان والدي الزوج كبارا وليس لهما دخل مالي ويحتاجان الابن حولهما، وكذلك أن تقوم زوجته برعايتهما لكونه لا يوجد أحد عندهما، فهذا باب أجر عظيم لها في الصبر والتحمل ومساعدة زوجها على بر والديه، وكذلك الزوج يعين زوجته على بر والديها، فهذا يجعل يعني البيت مليء بالبركة، والله عز وجل يرضى منهما ذلك ويحبهما لذلك ويكافئهما على ذلك. ولكن إذا كان في البيت إخوة ذكور بالغين، فينبغي أن يعني أن لا تتعرض لهم إلا وهي في حجابها، لا تظهر أمامهم إلا بحجابها، ولا تخضع بالقول، فلا تتكسر في كلامها كما تفعل مع زوجها، لأن المرأة مع زوجها ينبغي أن تخضع بالقول، يجب عليها أن تتدلل أمام زوجها حتى تستهوي قلبه. وكذلك لا تضع الطيب الذي عادة تضع أمام زوجها، لا أعني نوعا من الطيب، أعني كل الطيب، لا تضع أي من الطيب أمام إخوة زوجها. وكذلك ينبغي أن لا تجلس وحدها في مكان فيه أخ لزوجها، لقوله صلى الله عليه وسلم: الحم والموت. حتى وإن كان البيت يعني يكون فيه أخو الزوج يعيش فيه، فهي لا تبقى إن كان زوجها في الخارج في العمل ووالد زوجها موجود، فلا حرج إن كان بحضرته. وأما إذا كان بغير حضرته فالأولى أن لا تبقى في المكان الذي يكون فيه أخو زوجها أو عم زوجها أو خال زوجها، لأن هؤلاء ليسوا محارم لها، وإن كان فيه يوجد تحريم مؤقت بسبب زواج هذا الرجل منها، فإذا طلقها أو مات عنها حل لأحد هؤلاء أن يتزوجها، الأخ والخال والعم يجوز عندئذ أن يتزوجها. على كل حال يعني ينبغي للإنسان أن يقدر الأمور بقدرها، لا يفلت الأمر كما هو حاصل في كثير من البيوت التي هذا شأنها، فتصبح زوجة الابن كالبنت في البيت، تمشي كما تمشي أخت الزوج بلا يعني حجاب، فيراها أخو الزوج ويوقع الشيطان الفتنة في القلب. وأيضا لا تتشدد فتفرق الابن عن والديه، خاصة إذا كان كبيرين ودخله المالي لا يكفي أن يقسمه بين بيتين، فهو يبقى معهم حتى يعيلهم ويعينهم، فلا تتشدد في هذا الباب وتحرم الوالدين من ولدهم ومن يعني رعايته لهما، ولا تتساهل فتقع المصيبة الكبيرة التي يسعى لها الشيطان. فيعني ينبغي الإنسان أن يكون ذا حكمة وذا بصيرة، والله أعلم.
So first and foremost, it's for both partners to realize and understand that once they marry the other person, the other person's parents take the rank or the station of their parents. So, for example, a man's mother-in-law, she becomes unlawful to him forever. So it's permissible for him to treat her as he would treat his own mother. So he could travel with her, and he can be alone with her, etc. And this is a relationship that is lasting. So even if the marriage were to dissolve or were to cease, then she still would not be permissible for him to marry, and he would still be able to travel with her and to be alone with her. Similarly is the state of the father with the wife. So his rank with her is as her own father is. So it's permissible for her to travel with him and to be alone with him. And this is a relationship that is ongoing and forever, because again, even if the marriage were to dissolve or they were to separate, it would not be permissible for the two of them to get married. So based upon this, each partner should respect the parents of the other, and they should endeavor and strive to make their parents accept and make their parents like their partner. So they should not mention their partner except in ways that are good, and they shouldn't complain about their partner, so that the parents will have a good opinion of them and the parents will love them. And it might be the case in these sorts of situations that the parents are old, so they might need to be helped around the house. They might need food, etc. They might need to be served. So she shouldn't be too stringent or too fixed or rigid in taking up her right, and it is her right to have her own home. So even if it's her right, she should be flexible in terms of this. And to do so, to be flexible and to lower the right that she has or her expectations, she may do this if she deems this, or if it's deemed to be for a greater good and to bring about the greater benefit. So these elderly parents who need the husband and the wife, who need them there, in serving them, in being there for them, in having patience upon them, there is a great deal of abundant reward waiting for her that she can attain if she can help them do this. And a house that is like this is a house that is filled with barakah, with complete and abundant blessings. And this kind of relationship is something that Allah, the Most High, truly loves. However, it should be noted that if he has brothers who are in the house and they're brothers who are coming of age or who are of age, then she should be careful not to walk around the house without her hijab, without her Islamic dress, and not to speak aloud or to speak very, very loudly in a kind of in a kind of sweet manner around them. And this kind of sweet manner is something that's recommended for her to talk to with her husband, because it's something that causes love and affection. I suppose like sweet banter between them. She shouldn't do this around the brothers. Similarly, she shouldn't wear perfume of any type. So perfume of any type or alluring kind of smells or anything like that, she shouldn't do around these brothers. If the brothers are at home or in a room, she should not sit with them, and she should certainly not be alone with them. And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Al-hamu al-maut, that indeed the in-laws are death. So meaning the effect of the in-laws and the outcome of these things can be very, very grave indeed. If there are brothers and the old man, the husband's father is there in the house, then that's fine. However, if there is no one there, and the brother or the uncle is there, it's better that she doesn't stay in the same place where they are. And it's important to note that in terms of the brother, in terms of the uncle, and these types of people, that they're not permissible for her, but it's an impermissibility that is timed. So in contrast to what we said before, this is an impermissibility that, for example, if her marriage breaks down and she is no longer married to her husband, then the husband's brother becomes lawful and the husband's uncle becomes lawful for her. So in these types of relationships, she must be very, very careful, and she should take measures not to show herself or have dealings with these relations of the husband. And it's also important to say that she should not become like another daughter in the house. So she should not walk around the house like she would in her mother and father's house and home, because in doing so, in being lax in this manner, it will cause trials and tribulations. And finally, she should endeavor not to estrange the son from his parents, and to try not to prevent the son from benefiting the parents. Rather, she should help him to help them as well. But in doing so, in helping them and supporting them, she should still be on guard and she should not be lax. And ask Allah the Most High to grant basira, to grant insight within these matters and in such circumstances.
Jazakallah. I think just in addition to that, which I think the Sheikh might have answered already, was that the sister noted that the parents or the husband's mother is jealous of her, because now that the son is married, their attention is coming to his wife, and the mother is jealous of the wife. So this is one of the reasons why she wanted to ask, because it's not just advice to the husband or to the wife, it's advice which the mother needs as well, because now she has to share her son and she's jealous of the wife, her son's wife. Okay.
وشيخنا الوالدة عندها حسد تجاه الزوجة، وهي
حسد أو غيرة.
أي لعل غيرة. وتعتقد أن هذه المرأة صرفت ابنها عنها ومثل هذه الأمور.
نعم، هو هذا أمر طبيعي، لأن الولد كان مع أمه عمره، والآن هو يعني يبتعد شيئا ما مع الزوجة، لأن العلاقة بين الزوج والزوجة ليس مثل العلاقة بين الابن والأم. هو من قبل كان لا يجد يعني أحدا يستطيع أن يرتاح إليه إلا أمه. الابن لا يستطيع، الرجل لا يستطيع أن يضم أخته حتى يرتاح، لكن يضم أمه حتى يرتاح، وهو يضم أمه، هذا شعور بالبنوة والأمومة. لكن لما جاءته زوجة هو يستطيع يضمها فيرتاح، وهذا شعور ليس كشعور البنوة والأمومة، وإنما شعور التكامل. لذلك قال الله عز وجل ليسكن إليها. هذا السكن لا يكون بين الابن والأم، هذا يكون بين الزوج والزوجة، وهي الأم كانت كذلك. على كل حال هذه الغيرة ليست غيرة يعني سيئة، وإنما هي غيرة حسنة، لأنها يعني غيرة إيجابية، لأنها لو رأت أن هذه البنت تسعد ابنها فهي تكون سعيدة ومحبة لهذه البنت، بعكس الغيرة بين الزوجات. الزوجة الأولى لو زوج يتزوج أخرى فهي تغار، وكلما كانت الثانية يعني أحسن معاملة مع الزوج كلما زادت غيرة الأولى وليست تهدأ، لأن هذه الغيرة مختلفة عن الغيرة التي من أم الزوج إلى زوجة الابن. هذه غيرة يعني غيرة محمودة، غيرة طبيعية، ليست غيرة أن والله أخذت مني ابني، لا، ولكن تريد أن تكون هذه الآخذة معاملة لابنها مثل أو أفضل أو مثل معاملة الأم لابنها. نعم.
So this is something that's natural because the mother has seen the son split away from her in some ways. So the relationship between the son and the wife is not like the relationship between the son and the mother, or indeed like the relationship that the son had with his sister, because the man cannot hug his sister in such a way to find solace with her, but he can hug his mother. And then when he's married, he can hug his wife. But the way in which he hugs his wife isn't the way in which he hugs his mother, because there is an extra dimension of closeness that he will have with his wife. And this is, as Allah the Most High says, that they are partners to find tranquility, so that he can live with her. So he will have tranquility with her. So this feeling that the mother has, it can be something that's good. It's something that's natural, and it's something that can be good. If she sees within the daughter-in-law, within the son's wife, the fact that she helps him and she makes him a more complete person. As a result of this, looking at this way, she will increase in her love for her daughter-in-law. And this is something that's in contrast to the jealousy or the feeling. Jealousy might not be the right word, but the feeling of ownership or the kind of feeling that the wives have amongst one another. So, for example, wife A, she might see that wife B does lots of good for her husband, but instead of this making her happy, it increases her in this feeling, this strong feeling of, light jealousy that she has. So this is something that is in contrast to the mother. The mother should see what the daughter-in-law is doing and helping, and the better she is to the husband, the happier the mother is with her. So she should not look upon the daughter-in-law as being a woman who has taken away her son. Rather, she should look to see how she helps him and how she completes him.
Jazakallah. I think we'll end it there, inshallah, because we have gone over. I'll save any questions till next week.
إن شاء الله نراكم الأسبوع المقبل بإذن الله. Thank you عبد الحكيم. Thank you Tom. جزاك الله خير يا عقيل.
حفظكم الله. So our Sheikh said,
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So our Sheikh said, by the will of Allah, we will see you next week. And he extended his thanks to Abdul Hakim, to Tom, and to myself. And he said to all of our listeners, the greeting of Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Okay, and the new time is now, UK time will be from 7 to 8, inshallah, every Sunday.
Inshallah.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.